Hey, what's up, everyone from Your Home Sold? I got a special guest for you over here, Dave Harms. Dave, how about you just introduce yourself and say a little bit about what you do?
Hey, excited to be on the Facebook Live with everyone. Been in the industry 23 years. We teach people how money works, how to get out of debt, how to invest, how to plan for their retirement.
Awesome. And you're with Primerica, and you're one of our preferred vendors. So any Your Home Sold agent that has not set up a SEP, I highly recommend you going with Dave. I've got all my investments with him right now. So want to let everyone know that. Please contact me or Dave to be able to get this information and get your SEPs going, because this is important stuff. And we're going to hit a little bit on this here very shortly. But let's see. First thing I wanted to kind of let everyone know about was our SEP program. It's a pretty incredible program. Right now, what we're doing is we are matching anything that you do. We match at $50. So something that a lot of people don't know is 79% of millionaires become millionaires through the retirement fund. That's their largest asset once they hit millionaire status. It's pretty shocking statistic, but this is factual information recorded by over 10,000 millionaires. 79% of them hit it by an employee-based retirement. So we have driven that into our model to make sure that you guys know that this is what we're going for. So Dave, how about you just hit a little bit on the importance of the compounding interest that we have?
Well, it's really important. I've never heard of a real estate firm doing this. So you guys are on the cutting edge. And the uniqueness of it is it comes out before you see it. You know, everybody has good intentions of saving money, but it just never seems to happen. And the sooner you get started, the bigger difference it makes. Do you want to show that slide now or here in a little bit?
Yeah. Let's show this slide right here. I got this coming up for you. Let me put it up on the broadcast up here. So we got this slide here.
Perfect. Yeah, it just shows an example of if someone starts in their 20s and they put in $3,000 a year. So that's just $250 a month. How easy is it to blow $250 a month? If they do that for 10 years and then stop, they never put another cent in, look at what it grows to at the end. Then the second investor on the right side, they waited 10 years and then started putting in $250 a month every month for the rest, until they retired. So one put in like 20,000, one put in 102,000, but the value of the accounts was the exact same. So I know a lot of us, are already way past 30 or 40, but it's still not too late. You still got to, starting early makes a huge difference, as you can see there.
Yeah, I mean, the longer you wait on this stuff, the worse it's going to be. You guys have got to start this stuff now. People want to say, I'm going to wait for retirement. I'm not ready to do it. Sometimes it's just like, it's less than a car payment that you could potentially be losing hundreds of thousands of dollars, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, Dave?
Oh, tell them those numbers that you do of what just a car payment would grow to.
Yeah, I mean, just a simple car payment. We're talking $250, $300, $500. One of the things I kind of wanted to show on my end over here was just this compounding interest chart. I mean, we're literally talking $500, and we're talking 40 years. I mean, so if you have a 25-year-old person right now starting out, and they have to have that newest, latest car, they got to have that Camaro. But look at what that Camaro is costing you. So if you start saving $500 right now, 40 years at 9%, and Dave, that's pretty low, right? I would say 10% is probably the average mutual fund rate for the last 40 years. Am I wrong?
Say 9%.
Yep. So I mean, and we come down here and we just look, guys, 40 years, $500. That's a simple car payment, and that's going to have $2.3 million, $2.4 million. I mean, that's staggering money right there. And let's say you just decide, hey, I'm going to wait until, I don't need to do this stuff now at 25. I'm going to wait till I am a little bit older. I'm going to be 35 when I start doing this stuff. I mean, look at that staggering number. I mean, we're talking $1.3 million, $1.4 million difference over you having to have that Camaro then rather than now, or you having to have XYZ car. Guys, that's $500 a month. It's not staggering money. $6,000 a year is costing you $1.4 million.
That really is staggering, buddy. And it's that power of compound interest where, Einstein called it the rule of 72. And whatever interest rate your money's getting, you divide it into the constant 72. And that tells you how often it takes for your money to double. So in this example, if it's getting a 9% return, then the money's doubling about every 10 years. So just one doubling period, one 10-year period, there's where that $1 million goes. And, like Nathan said, if you got 10% or 12%, then it starts doubling every 6 years. And the numbers even get more impressive or depressing if you hadn't got started.
Exactly. I mean, let's just say you ended up getting a little bit higher than the average mutual fund, just 1% higher. I mean, guys, we're talking $4.3 million if you just get slightly better in the average. And Dave, that's why it's so important to be investing with the right financial advisor, because if you push it to someone else or you give their money to someone else who's not going to get you that 2%, that measly 2%. You think that's not that much money, but really that measly 2% is costing you $2 million. So it's important to make sure you're picking the right person.
Well, working with a financial adds 2 to 3% a year to your portfolio because of the advice, because of the strategies, but also, I just sat down with a lady just yesterday, and she has money in her 401k at her job, and it's all in a fixed account. So she's getting like 1.35% interest, and it's a retirement account. She's only 43 years old. And because there's no education, there's no consultation, they just kind of throw them in a room and say, hey, pick something. She didn't know what to pick. So she went safe because that's all, she didn't want to lose her money. But we're going to show a slide here in a second. The most important thing about investing. You want to show that now?
Yeah, let's show it now. You're talking about it. We might as well flip over.
What I'm going to show you right now is the most important thing you could ever learn about investing. If you understand this concept, you will accumulate wealth in your lifetime. It's the idea of dollar cost averaging. So like with your home sold, every time you close a sale, money's going into your account. Every month, people contribute to their retirement accounts. So this is an example of $200 a month. And if we were to give you the choice to be investor A, where you bought it $8 a share and sold it $18 a share, or to be investor B, where you bought at $8 a share, went down to $2 and you sold at $8, if you ask 9 out of 10 people, I've been doing this for 23 years, no one has ever picked B. They always pick A. Of course, if you bought a house at at 80,000 and you could sell it for 180,000, a few years later, everybody would pick that. But let me show you what happens here is when we put in $200 a month, you can see the first month, both investors are tied. So investor A and investor B, it's both at $8 a share. So they put in $200, they got 25 shares of their mutual fund. Then the second month, the investor A, it went up already. And they're like, man, all right, I've already made some money. Investor B's thinking, dang it, every time I invest, I lose money. I hadn't even had it a month and I've already lost. But I'm going to put in $200, right? And you can see how many shares there's picking up. By the fourth month, investor A is all fired up. They're like, oh my gosh, I bought at 8. It's at 12. I'm doing really well. Dave's the greatest investment advisor ever, right? But investor B is thinking, oh my goodness, what just happened? Did 2008 just strike again? I heard that the whole world's going to crumble again. And, I'm down at $2 a share and I bought at 8, but they both put in $200. Look at the difference. Investor A picked up 14 shares, investor B picked up 100. And when you play that out over this 6-month scenario, now look at the difference. If you take your calculator out, and Nathan, I don't think I've shown you this before. Grab your calculator real quick.
Yep.
And take 99.6 shares times 18. So investor A, they accumulated 99.6 shares,
Yep.
And times it by 18 is how much?
We got 1792.8.
So anybody would be excited about putting in $1,200 and having $1,800. That's a great investment. Now do investor B. It's a little small. How many shares did they pick up? Right below the 99. How many was that?
Right below the 99. Where am I looking, Dave?
Example 2.
306.68.
All right, so investor B picked up 306.68, but it's only worth $8. So you times that by $8 is what?
We're looking at $2,453.
So isn't that interesting? Technically, investor B didn't make any money. They bought at 8 and they sold at 8. You've heard things like a lost decade. The S&P 500 for a 10-year period basically started at one point and ended at one point. Nobody made any money. But the truth is, if you had put in money each and every month, I think all of us, if we could have purchased a house in 2008, we would look like heroes right now. Well, same concept. It's basically if Walmart had the sale, 30% off everything in the store, people dash into Walmart and brag about the sale that they got. But if the stock market drops 30%, they're like, oh my gosh, I got to get out of this. I got to sell. That's the worst thing they can do. And with mutual funds, and that's another reason why you pay a professional manager, is they repurchase shares with dividends and capital gains. So when the markets are down, when you're putting money in, plus what the portfolio manager is doing, all of a sudden, when the market comes back, this is a question I like to ask too, Nathan, is like, how long do you think it took for the mutual fund to rebound after 2008, which was like the worst crisis ever? You probably know the answer, but what do you think the average person would think? Most people that I ask, they think it took 5 years, 10 years. Some people think, maybe has it even come back,
Yep. Didn't take long.
2 years.
2 years. Yep. That's exactly what I would say. But I know that that's not what the average person believes.
Yeah. And we could show an actual mutual fund example that shows them what it was like in 2008. And then by 2010, it was right back. And so people don't realize the power of dollar cost averaging, the power of starting early, the power of just taking money out of your check before you even see it. There's just basic wealth management strategies that apply. It's like the law of gravity. I mean, you can say, I don't believe in gravity. Well, jump off and see if it doesn't matter what you believe. That's something you're going to fall.
It's the truth. And sometimes it's something we learn every single day, right? We teach our kids, right? The tortoise and the hare. I mean, I don't know about you, but the tortoise keeps winning every single time. You try to run a sprint, and this isn't a sprint, guys. This is a marathon. That's why you just consistently take your money, you put it away every single month, and I'll just let you know the tortoise is going to win every single time. It happens the same way for investing. You can buy, you can sell, you can try to time the market, but that's not the best approach. Almost every single time, the tortoise, the person who's going to put that $200, that $300, that $400, that $500 away every single month, that's they're going to come out the winner. And it's just hard to time the market, and it's hard to be perfect in this kind of stuff. So you can't keep playing that kind of game. We know what's best for the average investor, and that's consistently putting a monthly investment away every single time.
You're absolutely. It's so sad. I take the Bitcoin craze. 2 years ago, everybody was hopping into Bitcoin, or probably about 1 year ago, everybody hopped into Bitcoin, and now all of a sudden it's down 60%, and their whole retirement could be gone if they put it all in. And I had a guy who was day trading up in Denver, and he had $1 million in his account, and when I met with him, it was down to 50,000.
Wow.
He thought he was a great investor, but it was just in 98, 99, 2000, the markets were just going crazy, and it went down just as fast. So consistent activity, proper portfolio management, and I love that tortoise and hare example. That's a great analogy.
No question. What else do we got? Do we want to show them a couple more slides on this, Dave? Here, this is the real life example you were talking about right here.
Yeah, this is the real life mutual fund example that, this fund started in 1960. And you can see the investor put in $10,000 back in 1960. And, of course, there's some charges and fees to get the account set up, to acquire the shares, to hire the portfolio manager, to set up the tax reporting and all that. And then all of a sudden that first year, look, it dropped 8%. So now all of a sudden the client put in 10,000, they got 9,300. They're like, dang, why did I do this? Then the next year, what did it do? And those numbers are real small on my screen, but it's like 17% the next year, but then it dropped another 8%. So now they're 3 years into the investment, and they got, $10,100, basically what they put in. And that's where everybody misses it. They think if they didn't make millions their first year, well, shoot, I'm going to try something else, or I'm just not going to do this again. But if you see it play out, and all those circles are the negative years. See, Nathan, I like to point out the bad years, because if we can show the worst case scenario, the good numbers are going to be awesome. But the worst case scenarios, look how many negatives versus how many positives. It's about 2 to 1. So it's actually about 3 to 1. So 3 good years to 1 bad year, 3 good years to 1 bad year. There's a couple years where it dropped 2 years, double-digit losses. You would think, well, that was year 2008, 2009, but that was clear back in the 70s. And then if you go to the next slide, then it gets more to this year. Go to the year 2000. So the year 2000, you can see, and the significance of this is the markets. In 2000, some of us remember the dot-com crash. Y2K, the whole, planes were going to fall out of the sky. I mean, the computers just couldn't handle this switch from 1999 to the year 2000. And there was a huge crash, no doubt about it. And the markets dropped 50 or 60%, but you can see that mutual fund only dropped 10%. Now, nobody likes to lose money, but 10 is better than 50. But if they kept hanging in there, they kept investing, kept doing what they were supposed to do, then it had a nice little run until 2008. And right there shows that example. You can see what they had before 2008. It dropped 24%, and again, the markets dropped 50 or 60%, but the mutual fund only dropped 24. So it's still bad. Nobody likes to lose that money. But 2 years later, you can see in a real life mutual fund, this isn't a slide, this is a real life mutual fund. 2 years later is worth more. And how much did they put in originally? $10,000. How much? $10,000. $10,000, and you're ended up netting 1.5 million. I mean, it's staggering numbers, and these numbers are real life numbers. People sometimes think that this is, oh no, there's no way this is possible. Guys, these are real life examples. Yeah, we can't predict the future, but I mean, just look at the positive years compared to negative years. It's going to consistently be this way in the foreseeable future as well. Yeah, you think it's as bad as 20, 30 years. It's, even if it's a little off, if they only had $1 million, not 1.5, I think they'd still be better off. And that's only 50 years. I know 50 years seems like a long time, but shoot, I have a 19-year-old and a 17-year-old. They'll be like 68 or whatever, or 70. I hope they're living and have a bunch of money, and
there's no question. There's no question. And Dave, one last thing I kind of wanted to hit on right before I'm gonna flip out of all this stuff and unshow these slides here. One last thing I wanted to hit on was the importance of the paying yourself first. Why is it important, and what's the significance of taking that money at paycheck, and how does that help? How does that help the everyday person out?
Well, there's a great Automatic Millionaire. And the whole premise of the whole book, I can save you reading the whole book, because it's called Automatic Millionaire. The money just comes out before you see it, because once it's in the checking account, just magically you want to spend it, right? If that's what's so dangerous about credit cards or even debit cards. Back when we started the business 23 years ago, there was a concept of putting money in envelopes for each area of your spending. So you had gas and going out to eat and all these different things. And we followed it for a couple of years, my wife and I. And all of a sudden it's like, I don't know, we can't go out to eat. We don't have any money in our envelope. And now with credit cards and debit cards, especially credit cards, shoot, it's like, open up the cash register. There's unlimited money in this thing. And it's dangerous. I mean, if you don't pay those credit cards off every month, we use credit cards for our business, for our personal life, but we pay it off every single month. We don't pay 1 cent in interest. And it's nice for tax reporting and stuff, but shoot, you start getting that interest going. Well, all these numbers, Nathan, we just talked about that were working for us, credit cards is the exact reverse. You start paying all that stuff is the negative part. You pay that in interest to a bank or a credit card company.
And we're talking times 2. we're talking 20%, 22%, 25%. These payday loans, some run up to 30 to 40%. I mean, it's crazy that people are actually taking these numbers out, but then they're disappointed when, you know, you're only going to get them 7% or 8% or 9% or 10% in a mutual fund, but they have no problem spending 40% on a credit card. That's a lot of money that they're sitting leaving on the table where they could be having it work in a mutual fund because they have to have the money today. Something is very important, and it's the essence of waiting for tomorrow. And you have to just give it a little bit of time, wait a little bit longer for that big purchase. And it's amazing how much more money you will accumulate throughout your life.
You're I think this is 15, 20 minutes. They listen to this, really took a hold of it. It would change their whole life. I know it did my wife and I's. Thankfully, we learned it at a young age, and you know, we've been financially free for a lot of years now.
Awesome. Well, Dave, I much appreciate you being on this live broadcast with me. And guys, please reach out to Dave. Let him know if you guys ever need anything. If you guys want to figure out more about what we're doing here, please, please, please give us a ring. It is going to be 678-384-4822, and we can explain to you a little bit more about these SEP and mutual funds and all this other stuff, how this stuff works, how our company is trying to change the game in the real estate industry to help us pay ourselves first, exactly like me and Dave have been talking about here. So I appreciate your time, Dave, and thank you guys. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Ryan.
Absolutely.